So now we are getting a little bit more good stuff when it comes to our political order right now. There was a big win. I hope it will be a big win that happened yesterday. Elon Musk officially became the chief twit, and he did so by walking into Twitter headquarters, and he was actually carrying a sink. It's a kind of a strange video. Obviously being filmed, he's just carrying a sink, obviously disconnected from the wall. And he smiles at the camera and puts it down on the couch. And he said, he tweeted out, he goes, "Entering Twitter HQ. Let that sink in." So, and then he says, he changed his bio to say Chief Twit. So this gives me a lot of hope, because the man is certainly not self-serious. He makes jokes. He takes things lightly. That's what Chesterton said about the angels. He said the angels can fly because they can take themselves lightly. And he says he's going to make Twitter a little bit freer. He's not saying it's going to be the complete Wild West and you can put whatever you want on Twitter, but he's saying we're going to open up speech again on Twitter. It's got to be an important tool for communication. And this has the potential to be a more important political development than pretty much anything we've seen during the Biden administration. And the reason for that is the Bird app is not just a worthless time suck that we're all going to have to answer for when we make it to St. Peter's Gate. It might also be that. But Twitter, and along with the senior partners in big tech, Google and Facebook, are the public square. And because we are, at least in principle, a self-governing republic, that means that they are the political order. If you can be excluded from the public square, then you cannot really participate in our government. So your place in our self-government doesn't really exist. And if that happens to an entire political party, if that happens to the biggest voices in a political party, then that means that half the country is essentially being booted from the public square, and it completely undermines self-government. This could be a big development. Now, Elon Musk is not, I don't think he's some rock-ribbed conservative. And it actually tells you a lot, I think, about a lot of the poll movements we're seeing today. Elon Musk just kind of gets what time it is. Elon Musk, like so many Americans, is not a guy who probably showed up to the Tea Party rallies 10 years ago and wore the MAGA hat all the time and, studied Edmund Burke in school. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't think so, though. I don't think he was a debate club kid wearing a bow tie, practicing his orations on classical conservative philosophy. I think he's a kind of quirky, interesting guy who works in a completely unrelated field to the professional exercise of politics. And he just looked around and he said, whatever ruling class is running the country right now, they're screwing it up. Something's gone really, really wrong, and I'm not part of that. I'm out of that. I'm with whatever is not that. You've seen Tulsi Gabbard do this. You've seen huge swaths of Hispanic voters in particular do this. You're seeing a huge group of center people and center left and undecided do this right now, breaking in the polls. Now, will our benevolent betters, will our ruling class be able to hold on to their grasp of power despite this popular movement? That remains to be seen. But the signs are all very, very good looking toward Election Day. Representative Mayra Flores, she's a Texas Republican member of Congress. She just tried to join the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. So this is the main caucus for Latino members of Congress. And Mayra Flores, very clearly Latino. She's the first Mexican-born woman to serve in Congress. She represents a district right along the U.S.-Mexico border. The district is overwhelmingly Hispanic. She was not allowed into the caucus. According to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Representative Mayra Flores from Mexico is not Hispanic. Kind of silly, right? Why is that? Well, they don't want to let her in because she's conservative. And as far as the left is concerned, if you're Hispanic and conservative, you're just not Hispanic. As far as the left is concerned, if you're Candace Owens, if you're black and conservative, you're just not black. They don't say, Candace Owens, you're not conservative. They say you're not black. You're not really a black person. I remember an article about Sarah Palin in some stupid feminist studies, gender studies journal. This would have been years ago when Palin was running for vice president. And the article said that Sarah Palin had surrendered her womanhood. She ceased to be a woman because of her political point of view. And we can mock this and we say this is so silly and look at these dumb liberals with their race politics. But this There's actually a lot to this. This is actually how most people think about race. Very, very few people care about race itself. This is across the political spectrum. People care about race, if they care about race at all, only as a representation of something else. So people on the right have very low racial consciousness. You see this reflected in a lot of polls. White people especially have very, very low racial consciousness compared to other racial groups. Inasmuch, even the race-obsessed kind of fringe of the right, even they are more than happy to welcome black right-wingers into their tent. Even, you see this, just look at any of the real racially obsessed kind of fringe figures on the right. They've all got a black friend. They've all got a Jewish friend. Because their racial politics is not really about race. They just, for them, the people who are not members of their race that they pal around with, participate in the kind of cultural trappings that they themselves go along with. So wear the same clothes, believe the same kind of political points of view, read the same books, go to the same parties, do the same sorts of things. For the relatively few people on the right who focus all that much on race, race is really just a representation of culture. And for the left, race is just a representation of ideology. This is why they can, with a straight face, say, no, Myra Flores, you're not Hispanic. No, because I know you think that race is just the color of your skin and your bone structure, but it's not. For the left, if you do not adhere to a handful of dogmatic ideological principles that make you a leftist, then you actually just can't be black. That when Joe Biden says, if you're not going to vote for me, if you don't know who you're going to vote for, me or Trump, you ain't black, he is expressing that point of view. He probably couldn't articulate it in anything resembling a systematic way, but he's just saying that race actually is not about the pigment of your skin. That is just a representation for your political ideology. And a lot of the time that does actually match up, and sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, then you deny the pigment, you deny what we have traditionally understood to be race, and you instead favor the symbol. And that's why Myra will never be Hispanic, according to these people. Never will. Candace Owens will never be black, according to these people. Now today was supposed to be a very special day where I almost kill my friend and colleague, Jake Crane. We are pushing that to tomorrow. We're switching tomorrow, which is fake headline Friday, to today, because listen, we live in Biden's America. Up is down and left is right and black is white. And so everything's crazy. You've got to stay tuned. I need your help to figure out which the fake headline is, because the news cycle is so crazy. 4 real headlines, 1 fake one. The rest of the show continues now. You don't want to miss it. If you're not a member, click the link in the description and join us.